So in this segment, we're going to be talking about delays at UK ports double as Brexit red tape slows customs. And yeah, for those people who argued, oh, it's the ferries and all of this stuff, it's not down to the ferries, it's down to the red tape. Not a hard one to figure out, but some people struggle with this stuff. So, yeah, economists have warned that Russia's invasion of Ukraine threatens to prolong the disruptions. But yeah, in this case, it's not really a factor. So, dwell times at UK ports have more than doubled since the last spring as global supply chains creak. Shippers spent an average of more than 7 days discharging at British ports last month, well above the European average of roughly 5 days. That seems very high, the European average, given that predominantly a lot of the ports might not be dealing with third country products, but I'm assuming that certain ports like Rotterdam would push it up a bit, given that it's a very large port, and he'd be dealing with a lot of products from third countries, as well as increased exports because of problems with UK ports like Felixstowe have pushed more freight towards Rotterdam. So the figures spiked to nearly 9 days in January as the introduction of post-Brexit customs rules led to new red tape on checks on imports. So essentially saying that the import checks have led to massive delays at UK ports, which are far above the EU average. Data from Forekites shows the supply chain shows that the company also found there had been a sharp increase in the percentage of Europe-bound shipments passing through the United Kingdom. So essentially the land bridge, sorry I made a bit of a mess of that, but essentially they're saying that the land bridge is dead and that there's actually less freight travelling through the UK. So previously, if you want to move goods from, say, Ireland to France, you would go through GB. So you would take your goods, maybe you land in Wales, then you drive across Wales into England, you go into Dover, from Dover you go to Calais, like that. But that movement is dead now, and instead they just go all the way around Wales, around England and into France or Spain, wherever they're going. Which apparently suits Irish drivers a lot more, which I did not know. Britain's share of transshipments when a ship stops off at a port on its way to another destination, so I think it's called RoRo, roll on, roll off, has fallen to 4% from a high of 14% in February 2021. So it's actually quite surprising it was that high last year, given that the EU were doing import checks. Import checks on UK goods. But now if they tried this, they would face checks in GB and then coming out of GB to go to the EU. So you'd face double checks, so it's pointless. Suggesting shipping companies may be avoiding UK ports for transfer stops. Wow, man, I'm so surprised that shipping companies are avoiding the UK for transfer stops. Man, can't believe that's happening, man. That's such a surprise. And, the simple fact is that kind of death of, roll on, roll off traffic, or however you want to describe it, it's a massive problem for cafes, restaurants, lorry parks, all those other things that those drivers would have used on their way to their destinations when they land in the UK. So it's a massive problem for certain businesses. At the same time, several European countries have increased their share of ocean transfer shipments, mostly at the expense of Belgium. So that one's a bit of a confusing one, but I'm assuming it's talking about the amount of cargo that moves through certain EU countries. Clearly Belgium's not doing too great in that regard. I could be wrong. There were long lorry delays at Calais last month following the introduction of new regulations. So those delays would be because of UK import checks, as well as the dreaded GVMS system, which I'm still not 100% sure if it's working properly, which required goods coming into Britain from the EU to be subjected to full customs controls. So Brexit delays still causing problems. All this red tape, this article from February the 28th, for those people who argue it's the ferries that are causing all the problems and things like that, simply doesn't stack up. It's the red tape, it's the import checks, it's the paperwork, it's all of that stuff, the GVMS system that's causing the problems. And it's about time Brexiteers acknowledge that. As angry as some of them are getting, time for you to suck it up and accept what you have done. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.